How are you? I am the financial sharktress, Galit Sadiq, and I am here with Anna Kowalska, and she is a manifesting expert. And I'm super excited to have her on. And we are going to be talking about the role of money and manifesting. So, Anna, why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself and what you do?
I'd love to, Galit. Welcome and thank you. I love the whole shark trust thing. It's like
Thank you.
it's yeah. It's very fun for me. And money loves fun. So I'm a purpose and prosperity catalyst, actually, slash manifesting expert. And it came about as my out of my own experience of life. So you and I were just chatting for a few minutes about how your business came about, and mine was the same thing. I will take you halfway through my life, and then we can go back into the beginnings. I was doing everything I thought I was supposed to be doing in life, having a very prescribed like success. Do this to get that. I was living in New York. I was manifesting millions of dollars, living a great life. And at one point, it all poofed and went away. And then I recreated it and it poofed and went away. And I was never taught about money growing up, which is a whole other conversation we can get into. At one point, I realized that there is such a thing as a relationship with money and there is energy of money. And I also started to learn that there is such a thing as purpose, like the thing I am here to do. And when I try to marry both, doing the work I'm here to do, something that inspires me, enlivens me, lights me up, the thing I came here to fulfill, money would disappear. As long as I was following old rules, I call them old rules, around money, money was there. But as soon as I would we just try to go a little bit off and try to follow my purpose, money would just disappear. So I started to dive very deeply into what is the role of money in our life. How does it even work other than 2 + 2 = 4? I mean, I knew how to make money, how to get paid for things, put money in a bank account and use a credit card, right? I knew all that. But there is a whole other way of working with money that only certain percentage of people have figured out in life. When I dove deeply into it, I found out that there is the tactical, strategic way of being with money, but then there is this whole other energetic, emotional aspect of money. So I started to put together purpose, the thing we came here to be, and our relationship with money in my work with my clients. So now that's what I help my clients do. I help them manifest their contribution, their heart and soul based work, and get paid for it so they can actually have money in life to do the things they want to do, to be of service and contribute in the way they want to do.
Yeah, that sounds amazing, and I feel like it's so true on so many levels. Um, I feel like when I knew we spoke about like all the path that it took to get me here,
Mm-hmm.
and when I always found a way to make money, but it wasn't until I felt like I was fulfilling my true purpose that I feel like I actually stepped into the unlimited potential of making money and like actually being the the kind of generational wealthy that I wanted for myself and my future family felt possible.
Yeah.
So, how do you usually go about walking your clients through that? Like, what's the process? How do they start?
So it depends where the person is, right? I'm tuning in because I actually like to speak very organically from wherever we are, tuning into whoever is listening to us right now. So I'm going to share with you a little bit about what story around money I had, because we're specifically talking about money. The story about money that I had growing up, and then how I figured out that I actually had a story about money that would stop me from being able to create it when I was truly who I am here to be. So I grew up in a communist country where there was a whole different level of a conversation around money. It was government controlled, and you kind of got whatever government gave you. There weren't a lot of opportunities at a time, and there was like a 1,500% inflation at one time, and I grew up soaked up in that kind of a conversation. And then I came to America as a teenager, and I came with this vision of like America, the land of opportunity, right? And I had to start working for money. And very quickly, like I said, I was able to create opportunities and a life of true abundance. And I was very uncomfortable with that. Like my whole physical being, my mind, it was very, very uncomfortable with having that much money available to me. And so I poofed and went away. Never mind how it happened, just poofed and went away. And I decided I could recreate it again. Um, the first time I created it with my ex-fiance, the second time I started to recreate it by myself. And I found myself in the same place. I would recreate it and then poof, it goes away, right? I claimed bankruptcy, and that taught me a lot about our worldly concept around money. I was shamed for the choices I've made by the attorneys I went to talk to. And I started to really awaken to, wow, there is really this, like, money has this like mystical hold on us. And yes, it's real, it's tangible, but the way that we are taught how to work with it is very archaic, very outdated, and it actually is sort of like creates slavery, creates us as slaves to money, right?
Yeah.
So at one point on my journey, I had a teacher, a coach who I sought out because she was doing energy around money. Energy of money is what she called it. And I remember at that moment, something woke up in me and said, wow, yes, I am already awakening to the universe being all energy. Everything is energy. We are energy. Everything that's even like this pen is energy, right? Money is just like that too. Of course it is. So I started to deeply dive into, if money is energy, then the rules that I was taught about money, you make it a certain way, you do this with money to have more, only certain people can have money, right?
Yeah.
All of that just started to like show up, first of all, pop up the surface, and then I had to learn how to work with it to make it not disappear, but to make it not a matter in my life. So it wouldn't stop me from again creating, because now I'm like on my third journey around money at the time. And I'm like, I don't want it to just disappear because I haven't learned how to manage my emotional state around it, my energetic state around it. So I discovered that there is emotion around money, there is energy around money, and there is our physical way that we deal with money. So there are different layers of us being with money. And manifesting money isn't any one of these. All of these stages, all of these phases, and all of these areas we have to deal with as we want to keep expanding our wealth. And there is a whole other leg to wealth. Isn't just about money, but I'm going to leave it over here for now and focus just on tangible physical money. So the way I work with my clients is kind of figuring out where they are right now. I work with entrepreneurs, so it's people who have started businesses, and I help them figure out, align their business, their existing business, with their purpose, so that whatever it is that they came here to fulfill. And then usually when it happens, the questions around, but can I make money doing that? Will I lose everything I've created come up? And that's when we start looking at, okay, well, what stories do you have around money? What stories were you, right? Like, what stories were you passed on by your family, by your culture, by media, by your neighbors growing up and ongoingly in life, right?
Yeah.
So it's really diving into questions, and very quickly, at this point, I can very quickly tell where somebody is around money. How do they see money? The role the money plays in their life, and from there, we'll start to unravel all these different aspects of it: physical, the emotional, and the energetic.
Yeah, it's so interesting that you say this, because I always, one of the biggest things that I talk to my clients about is learning how to treat money like their lover. And I feel like that's what I heard you say on some level of like, there's so many parts of it, and treat it like a lover, treat it like this partner that brings you to where you want to be, rather than like this booty call that, okay, I need a little bit of money right now, I need to, I need to pay this bill, I need this, I need that.
Mm-hmm.
But give it that role in your life, give it that respect, have that relationship with it instead of having the other relationship where it's just like, okay, I need it, and then I'm gonna be like all freaked out by it and scared and run away, like how you would maybe act with like a one night stand or a booty call, like shame after having it. Um,
Yeah.
and I feel like that's all, it all comes from our money story. It all comes from the things that we heard when we were growing up. And I definitely heard money is the root of all evil.
Mm-hmm.
And you know they were born with a silver spoon in their mouth of like talking down upon people that have achieved wealth,
Yeah.
and it gives you a certain feeling around money that most people don't realize. It actually leads to money avoidance in your
Mm-hmm.
life because you think that if you have wealth, if you become, wealthy or that person, that you'll be a spoiled brat, you'll be evil, people, you'll die alone. There's so like Scrooge, just
Yeah.
even thinking about in
Yeah.
like cartoons, like
Yeah.
who are the wealthy, figures in cartoons. Like it was
Mm-hmm.
actually funny this week. I had a conversation about The Simpsons with someone, and I was like, think about rich Mr. Burns. Like
Yeah.
he was like that evil man that nobody liked, and he like owned businesses, and you know,
Yeah.
he made you
Yep.
feel skeevy, but he was the person in that cartoon that had money. And
Mm-hmm.
so people like grow up with these stigmas around it, and then it's so hard to break free of that and actually get to the point where you're bringing in money and you're feeling good about it and you're allowing it to work within your life and become a tool. Um, I'm wondering, do you have like tips on like how to get over that first hurdle, or how to even identify these like, ingrained moments within us or ingrained thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, there are so many different, and so many people are doing this amazing work to you yourself, right? Of like deconstructing the ideas around money. The conversation that I'm having now with my clients, I actually just sent an email to my tribe this morning, is around the illusion of security around money. So we've grown up thinking that when we have money, we feel safe. And money is the source of our security. And thus, wherever money comes from is the security provider. Whether it's the job, I have a car, I feel safe. I have the mortgage and the house, I need it to feel secure and safe. Again, the job or the business that I've created that's completely out of my alignment with who I am. I don't want to do it, but I keep doing it because it's my source of safety and security. And it's starting to, so I take it like, I zoom people up, right? Like conversation goes all the way to look at what you have put on money. And I lead through actually stages of the conversation, just asking yourself, what have you made up about money? What conversation are you having around the role that money plays in your life? Like, is money is money the thing that allows you to live? Like, is money the source of life for you? And a lot of people are in that state of mind where, wow, like literally, if you ask somebody what would happen if money stopped flowing in, they'll take it all the way out, I'll die, right? So for a lot of people, money really has the concept of money is a source of security, a source of life, a source that allows them to be alive, which is a complete baloney, because it's not, right? Life force is the source of money, and life force flows through us, which means we are the conduit for money. So beyond even having a conversation of, yes, it's totally a relationship, and it's a mature relationship. So a mature relationship means you take a responsibility for it. And I find a lot of people subconsciously, this isn't consciously, we want a lot of money, but subconsciously, once we start creating it in a very sacred way, right? I bring a lot of sacred into my work. I have a whole series, like if you allow me, I'll plug it, but I have a whole series
Yeah.
that's starting on Thursday, Sacred Success Salon. Um, So there is a lot of sacredness around money. Just like in every relationship, there is a lot of respect. As money starts coming into your life and you become aware that it's actually your partner, a tool for you to create something in life, there is a responsibility to it. So I love when you just said it like a booty call, right? There is no respect in a booty call. This is a total desperation. I want this. It's like a very immature, trying to satisfy a very teenage like need, right?
Yeah.
I need this, and right now some money show up. It's out of desperation. It's out of this like yucky need, which then creates guilt when money shows up, and creates shame when money shows up because we did it from a place of desperation. How we call the money in is might be completely incongruent with who we are in the world. And that's where we have to start maturing the relationship with money and start seeing is as our partner with a lot of respect, and knowing that money and having money flow through our life is absolutely 100% a responsibility we choose to take on. I love talking about money, and I got it from one of my teachers, Kendra Thornberry, being a steward of money. So taking it into esoteric conversation, what if money isn't even yours or mine? What if money is just an expression of the life force flowing through our whole entire existence? And in the moment when it is in our possession, we are the steward of it. And it is up to us in how we treat it. Are we respectfully putting it in a bank account, and are we treating it with respect when we invest it? Are we respectfully spending it? Spending meaning we are exchanging it for something we want and need, and we get to decide what we need. It's not the basic needs that have been established. It's I decide what I need. If I need that house or a car to be who I came here to be, that's my level of need. And now respectfully, I choose to funnel my money into that purchase so I can have what I need, right? So it is maturing with the energy of money, maturing with what money means in our life. I feel like for a very long time, we have been in a very immature relationship with money collectively, right?
Yeah.
Collectively. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did that answer your question? I know I went so
Yes.
many.
No, I actually got chills because yes, this is something that I think about and I talk about all the time of money almost being just an energy exchange,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
it just being something that flows through your life and helps you get where you need to go. So it's not the amount of money that matters. It's what you are able to do with that money. It's the intention behind the money. And I think you said it so eloquently. I loved what you said because it that really speaks to I feel like the essence of what it is.
Mm-hmm.
um, Money is definitely something that, you know, we as humans have kind of assigned this value to it, and I feel like it's time to change that conversation and to reassign it to what it should be. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it should be just a tool to get us to where we want to go instead of it being just this thing that like encapsulates everything and everyone and it's who you are, because it's not that your money is not who you are.
Right.
You are who you are.
Yeah.
You use your money to become what you want to be. And then another thing that struck me is being respectful
Mm-hmm.
to your money. And I have to shout out one of my clients, Shane, where she actually kisses her bills when she pays them.
Yeah.
Like that's something that she started after we started working together, and she'll like put little hearts on them or like decorate them and just, and she said she started to think about this in like a different way of like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually so grateful for this bill because that's someone that trusts me to pay them.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like it's just changing the perspective and changing how you look at these like everyday things instead of a bill being, oh my god, just another thing I have to pay, and oh this is
Yeah.
horrible. No, it's like
Mm-hmm.
kissing this bill like, hey, my lights will stay on. I love this. They trust me
Yeah.
to put electricity in my house.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a whole different way of looking at it, and it makes things feel so much better, and it also makes it so much easier for more money and more
Mm-hmm.
of what you want to keep coming into your life, because it also
Yeah.
brings forth the gratitude aspect, which I think is so important in life.
Yeah, totally. So imagine when you're getting, if everything is energy, which I believe it is, but let's just for a moment, everybody imagine that everything is energy. If you get a bill and you're like, ah, I just got $500 in my bank account and now I got this bill. What the load of right now I have to pay it, right? All of a sudden you have this energy around resentment and just being pissed off about it. But you pay it anyway because you have to. All of a sudden, like I feel the shift in my body just pretending right this moment. It creates this negative energy, you keep tightness around it, right? So now
Mhm.
with this tightness, I send money out in the world. Energetically, I am so never even mind assigning any kind of emotions to it, but just like physical energy, right? If I am getting tight because something is flowing towards me and I am tightening up to it, I am cutting off the flow of it into my life.
Yeah.
But if I receive it and I say, wow, I am so happy I got this bill and I have this money. So like you said, right? Hey, I got this bill. Somebody trusted me and I'm happy because I have my internet stays on, my lights stay on, whatever this bill is for. I'm so happy I can have that, right? And now with this gratitude, this is the exact amount of money in the bank account you have that you just got, right? Extra, whether it's all you have or whatever. But you have that in a bank account. What if you were so grateful that at the same time as this bill came in, you got this money and now you can pay it? And this
Yeah.
is your evidence that you are always provided for. And with that energy you pay this bill, all of a sudden you become the channel. And the energy can keep flowing, right? That the energy of
Yes.
money can keep flowing, period.
Yeah.
Physics,
Yeah. It
right?
and I feel like it makes so much sense logically when you put it like that, but why do you think it's so hard in practice for people to feel like this? Because I know
Oh,
that's something that
yeah.
I struggle with my clients of we do it in every session of kind of bring attention, like I'm going to say the word money, tell me how your body feels right now.
Mhm.
And like we tune into that, and it's something that's like deeply ingrained with us, and it's very hard to knock out that initial reaction. Why do
Yeah.
you think that is?
Well, we've been like this for centuries, right? I mean, we humans actually did assign value to money. It used to be shells and grains and beads that we used to exchange for whatever it is we wanted. And then we created money because it was just easier, right? Like physical
Mm-hmm.
money. But ever since like centuries ago, we've assigned some kind of emotional value to what money meant, and then we've been ingrained with it generation after generation. Not only that, so I'm going to bring this in, right? As women, I work in spiritual realms. So as women, there was actually a time in history, and this is history, money, women could not have money. And when they did, they were actually witch hunted for it. So the witch hunt wasn't just about whatever women were doing, right? It was also about having possessions and money. And historically, there is actually evidence that women were, if they had possessions, the possessions and the land, whatever they have inherited, was sold, and the money was used to torture them, the witches, right? The money they had that they inherited was used to torture them, and we carry that in ourselves. So the money conversation, wherever the viewer wants to go with it, it's up
Yeah.
to them. But the money conversation isn't just from our childhood. It is in our bones, generation after generation, century after century. It is in our genes, it's in our bones, it's in our frequency. So if you come from a family where women were shamed about having money, they could not have money, you come from lineage of families that, hey, they have money, like that's something that I heard. Money is for people like them, not for us. People like us don't have money. Like, this isn't something my mom made up. This is something that's generations
Yeah.
back, right? So it's really difficult because to come out of that, because we've been entrenched in this, not just this lifetime, but for many, many, many lifetimes. And money, so whether people believe it or not, I don't want to get into conspiracy theories, but money has been used in our systems as it existed, that I believe it's crumbling, and I'm not the only one. All the old systems are crumbling, and part of it will be the way the money existed. The system of money was used to control people.
Yeah.
Right? So imagine us now trying to unravel all of that in within minutes.
Yeah.
It's not right. It feels dangerous. It feels dangerous because we are giving up something that was true and kept us alive for generations and centuries,
Yeah.
and kept your family alive. The way of thinking, I'm gonna go make money, put it in a bank. Like, if I can pay the rent, I'm okay. I better be able to have to pay for food. I better do this for money. I better work for money. Like, how often do we still hear this conversation? Not in my circles, but I know it still exists very
Oh, I
prominently,
hear it
right?
all the time. I hear it
Yeah,
all the time. Yes.
I gotta work for money. This isn't something you decided, right? Or I decided, or the person who's saying it. This is something that was passed on to us. People had to work for money. I mean, I'm gonna bring this up here because it's coming in energetically. You gotta work for life. And this was I'm Polish, so I'm very familiar with Holocaust. Work makes you free,
Yeah.
right? I don't know why it's energetically coming in right now, but work makes you free. You work for money, you have freedom. You don't.
No. And
Don't.
it was the biggest lie entering into camps, right?
Right.
That you could
Same
somehow work your way
to
out of
freedom.
it. Yeah. It was
Yeah.
never going to happen. And
Yeah.
it's true. It's kind of that same cycle
Yeah.
that has been going on for generations of like, I have to work for money. I don't have the luxury of working in what I'm passionate in because I have to make a living, because I have to
Yeah.
put bread on the table, because I need
Mm-hmm.
to pay my rent. And
Mm-hmm.
we stop actually living
Yeah.
and we
Yeah.
start just existing in some weird alternate reality where the the thing that we spend most of our time doing, we hate.
Yeah.
You know,
Totally.
people
Totally.
spend their whole lives working. They spend the whole life in the office. Like it's at your job, and then you come home and you have like maybe 4 hours, 5 hours,
If that, right?
right, before you go to sleep, and then you spend the next, you're lucky if you get like 8 hours, but whatever. You just do it over and over and over again. And even on the weekends, like your mind is there,
Mm-hmm.
and people, we spend all of our time doing that. And
Mm-hmm.
instead of just, yanking ourselves back and saying, like, what am I doing? I'm not actually living right now.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's all about changing your attitude towards money and the mentality around money, and stopping to, work just to make a living.
Yeah. So what's coming in right now, I love this. What's coming in right now is, the term, the breadwinner?
Yes.
Like, you got to do something to win the bread.
Yeah.
Bread being representation of food on a table and roof over your head. Like, there is a fight and you got to win it.
Yeah.
But you are a winner if you do provide it. You're a winner. You're the bread winner.
Yes. I know.
Right? Like, again, it indicates that there is some fight we have to go into, do something, right? Competition, fight, struggle and striving to
Yeah.
win the bread, the money.
Yeah, and that really resonates with me as well, because the in that same token, I find that so many people that I meet are trying, instead of just doing what they do really well, they're always
Mhm.
trying to compete with somebody or protect themselves against competition. And
Yeah.
yes, I'm all for like trademarking and do what you have to do to protect your business,
Smart.
but I'm like, you're a money expert, I'm a money expert. There was no hesitation for me to bring you on here. It wasn't even like a second thought, because I don't believe in that type of thinking of like
Right. Mm-hmm.
somehow that if you get more business, I'm going to have less business. That's not how this works. If you
Yeah.
get more business, I get more business, and we grow together, and it becomes a community lifting
Hmm.
each other up. And I'm always so taken back when people are so scared to collaborate with
Yeah.
other entrepreneurs, because like we're all in this together. We are all need a support system. We, you know, we have this ability to promote each other and to help each other. And why would anyone not want that?
Yeah. Yeah. But that goes back to, that is a byproduct, in my view, that is a byproduct of that whole winning, right? The breadwinner. And if scarcity thinking, lack thinking, there is only so much, right?
Yeah,
And if you get it, then I want,
yeah.
right?
And that's
So,
in everywhere. That's in like even
yeah.
the top, like I worked for Morgan Stanley, and that was in, I had my boss was an executive director, and above her was a VP, and they were both women, and they both had that mentality of like there's only space for a couple of us at the top. So we got
Yeah.
to hold down every, I saw like no women were
Hmm.
promoted through them, because it was
Yeah.
always this mentality of like, no, if like they somehow get in, there's not enough room for me anymore. And I
Yeah.
and they were making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. Like, what are you even worried about? You're in a big bank, you've been here for 10, 15 years. Like, what what is this thinking? But it's so deeply ingrained that there's this lack of resources. and
Yeah. Hmm.
and I'm
Yep.
so glad that we don't actually live in that world. That's not the reality. There isn't a
Mhm.
lack of resources.
Yeah.
Everyone can make a living. We live in a time where you can literally do just about anything that
Anything.
you want to,
Hmm.
and be
Yeah.
successful and be very and get wealthy doing it. And
Yeah.
even if you're not making a lot of money, which is something that I don't think people realize, that even if you're not making a lot of money, you can still live very well, and you can still save, and you can
Hmm.
still invest.
Hmm.
And like I have heard of, me personally, I saved up thousands and thousands of dollars as a college student, and I came out of
Hmm.
college debt free. Like, it doesn't have to be the way that everyone says you need to be. You can, like I said, you can literally make money doing anything you want to be doing. I know people that make money standing on line for other people.
I know, right?
Like, that's what
Yeah.
they chose to do. They love it. They're like, I don't have any hours. I just like, you know, people,
Yeah.
I stand in line for like a video, when the new latest
Yeah.
video game comes out, or I camp out
Yeah.
in
Our
front of
iPhone.
wherever. Exactly.
Yeah. Hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
I never even considered that. Or
Yeah.
people make tons of money, on TikTok or on Instagram or on Facebook, just, or on YouTube, just doing, the things they were going to do anyway.
Hmm. Yeah.
And
Totally. Yeah. So I love that you bring up a resource. I want to talk about that for a
yeah.
second, okay? So where we are moving right now, I believe we are in a collective transformation. We are in a very pivotal evolutional point in collectively, which is like right now as this COVID-19 is happening, it's an opportunity for us to pivot as humanity, right? And a conversation around money is going to have to change because of what's happening. So money is a resource just like anything else, right? So I actually use scientific hand analysis, which is a whole other conversation, to help
Okay.
people identify their purpose. But in hand analysis, which is a study of lines in your hands, it's not like a fortune telling at all. It's more of a who are you, who you came here to be. And money is in the same area in hands as any resources, as time, as energy, as money. It's all resources. And if you are not in integrity with any of them, you will see imbalance in others. So imagine if you're trying to work with your relationship with money, and you are completely out of integrity with your relationship with time. For example, you are misusing your time and you are now aware, like you've been doing this work, right? You are aware, which means the lessons come and you have to deal with challenges to overcome them, to learn the lessons. It's just to grow. It's just how it happens. If you are completely unaware, you don't know it's happening. But if you are aware, then you have to deal with integrity in all aspects of your resources. So if you are not being respectful of your time, which means your divine self has time for everything you need and require, like enough sleep and enough rest and proper hobbies that take your mind away, and creativity, all of that is resources. And if you are not being respectful and in integrity with any of your resources, it's going to show up. And most probably it's going to show up with money, because money is the loudest voice. If you don't get enough
Yes.
sleep, it's going to take a really long time for you to feel the effect. But money, you're going to feel very quickly, right? So I love that you were sharing that, like, people stand online for, and that's how they make money. Well, that's how they choose to use their energy and time, and they figured it out. They have freedom of time. They're doing something they like in the moment.
Yeah.
Money shows up, right? Like, they're being respectful of their resources. So in the new paradigm that we are stepping into, and that I am such a stand for us to really freely move into, money is just another resource, and it's our birthright to have money flow through our life, just as much as we breathe air, just as much as we are alive. It's our birthright to have money to flow through us. It's just another resource. And you can stretch it into, we are not being respectful with resources on the planet Earth, so we're going to see it in our imbalance in relationship with money. The more respectful we become of all the resources available to us, the more the relationship with money is going to support our growth and evolution of humanity. And we no longer then have to struggle and be in that old paradigm of lack and scarcity.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. You said it so perfectly and really eloquently. And I mean, I feel like I don't I don't even know what I would add because it's very succinct.
Thank you.
It's all
Yeah.
about using your resources
Mhm.
in the way that makes sense to you and that is aligned with you physically, emotionally, mentally, creatively.
Mhm.
It's all of these things, and and you're so right that people usually feel it in their pocket first.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not something that we normally, people say, okay, we're tired, but we can kind of just push through that. But when you feel like you don't have money, it's really hard to push through that, right?
Yeah.
That's when you start thinking like crazy things like I'm gonna rob a bank or I'm gonna like mug somebody because you're pushed to that place because it's it connects with such a deep fear of like being
Survival.
exactly being homeless, survival, not being able to
Yeah.
eat. Like it's all of those things,
Mhm.
and you don't feel the not being able to eat, but you know it's about to come. So it really makes sense that using all of these resources and understanding the different resources and making sure that you're in balance with everything is
Mhm.
going to affect your financial health as well.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I do
Yeah.
actually want to just say hello to a couple people that have been
Yes.
watching. Hi, Rebecca, and also hello, Nicole. She is also Polish,
Oh,
and
really?
she is saying that it was energetically coming in because she was just she was just typing about being Polish and that mindset of working for money. And
Mhm.
she said she's going to be a better girlfriend to her money. I love Nicole. She's one of my clients, and she's like
Oh.
so great.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, so, hi everyone. Thank you for tuning in and thank you for yeah. So, is there something else I guess that coming from because I know that coming from my background where also I definitely saw money being a controlling
Mm-hmm.
aspect. So I'm Israeli from a Middle Eastern back Syrian Israeli.
Yeah.
So yes, there's this stigma with women talking about money, and definitely also I was in a religious household where, women don't work. They're just like baby
Mm-hmm.
makers and
Yeah.
don't really need to be educated. And,
Mm-hmm.
there's that mentality going on. And then it went a step further where, my father was physically abusive, mentally, emotionally abusive, and used to literally like take my mother's paycheck. And that was like the way that he controlled her and made sure that, you know, the family stayed with him and that everybody was in line because she was the breadwinner.
Mm.
She used to work for her money, and it was definitely something. So it's not just a Polish thing, right? I
Yeah, not at
definitely,
all.
I definitely heard it a lot going on at home. And I think it's also a story that we ran away to a domestic violence shelter when I was 12. And that was a
Mm.
story I heard in the shelter over and over and over again with all of these women of this not, being fearful of money, being fearful of not believing that they could handle their own money, and
Mhm.
also having someone control them through their own money. And
Yeah.
what you said about the witches, where if a woman had an inheritance or had money, that money would actually be used to torture her, like that really hit me hard because it brought me to that back to that moment of like, that is literally what happened in my childhood,
Mm.
right? So it's not just like a thing of the past, it's
Yeah.
still happening,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Where my mother was literally bringing home her paycheck, and he would take that and put it into his bank account and quite literally use that money to live and torture her,
Yeah.
you know?
Wow. Yeah.
So I think
Wow.
that it's really it's really eye-opening
Yeah.
to think about just that in another way because I hadn't made that connection before, right? I had made the connection of it being controlling, that
Mm-hmm.
he was controlling her via the money, but I hadn't understood the full depth of it, of he was literally using her own possessions
Mm.
to torture her.
Yeah.
And it wasn't
Wow.
until you said that it kind of clicked for me. And I guess in a way it unlocks a deeper meaning to, I know that definitely there's people in my family that have issues around money. And thankfully, actually, in my immediate family and my siblings, there's six of us. And in general, we've all been pretty successful in our
Mm-hmm.
careers and in our lives. And we've always kind of said that it was in spite of our
Mm.
upbringing.
Mm-hmm.
But uh, on more than one occasion, I've thought that this is actually, you know, uh, the way that it worked out was just the best way, for me, and I am successful and I am who I am because of what I went through. And
Mm-hmm.
this just like unlocked for me another angle to it. And I know
Yeah.
that I think for some other members of my family, it didn't necessarily go this way. And maybe they're still locked in
Yeah.
that torture cycle.
Yeah. It could be. So I have something to say about that. First of all, I'm very sorry that you had to experience all that and your mom. And I have a lot of compassion for. So here's what I'm going to say about that. We who can have this conversation on the internet in our safe spaces have a privilege,
Yes.
right? We have done the work. However however it happened, we have done the work. And I have tremendous amount of compassion for people who are not able to have this conversation. There is no access for them to have it, or wherever their life is right now, there's just not. It's just not. The conversation's not happening. This is what I believe, and I want to believe it. if everything is energy and we are all one and connected, which I choose to believe, right? Goes back to, if you're depriving me of something, you think you're depriving me of something, you're actually depriving yourself of something, right? If you're generous with me, I'm generous with you. We are generous towards each other. We're generous out in the world, and we're spreading generosity. Like that's how I choose to live. And right now, with everything happening in the world economically, there are shifts happening, and people already talk about domestic abuse being on increase, and there are a lot of things happening that many of us don't have control over, and there are people in situations they don't have control over. This is what I choose to believe. The more I raise vibration, my own vibration around freedom and money and compassion and kindness and being blessing through money. It's a whole other thing. Like if you send money and you bless it, you're being a blessing with money. The more I am willing to do this work and go deep, and like you did, right? Like heal those deep crevices, places that maybe others have no opportunity to go to. We are raising the vibration. So maybe this woman who is right now being controlled and in a very unpleasant situation because of money, maybe there is a strand of energy she can connect to, and it's available to her now to maybe have a moment of awareness where she gets courage to walk away and say, I know I will be held by something, and she finds support.
Yeah. Yes. That's
Yeah.
super powerful. And yes, I want this to be that moment for someone. I want to be able to hold space for that woman. And there has been, like you said, a lot of this happening. And it's something that hasn't really been talked about enough during this, time of
Pandemic.
quarantine
Yeah.
and epidemic, where there are people in abusive and toxic environments, and they are locked at home right now with
Yeah.
no safety and no way to get out,
Mm-hmm.
or very little way to get out. So if we can send power, energy, strength to these people, in
Yeah.
any way, energetically, I love that we're doing that, because I
Yeah.
do feel really emotionally in tune with that, and I do feel very aligned to, in this moment, sending out energy to try to help heal and give strength to
Yeah.
anyone who's stuck in that situation.
Yeah. And we do it by having this conversation too, by unpacking and completely dismantling the old paradigm around money. We are doing that. We are actually making it available for somebody right now to enter into this new paradigm, even if for just enough time to feel empowered to. So just by having this conversation, in my worldview,
Yeah.
we are doing that. So thank you for creating the space for having it.
Yes, thank you.
Mhm.
I love this. I wish we could go on forever, but
I know.
it's
I,
I I'm in Amsterdam, so it is 9:50 p.m. here. So I'm like,
time's up.
yeah. I'm
That's great.
like zoning out, coming down a little bit from
I
all
get
of
it.
the day.
Yeah.
Um, but I
Yeah.
want for people to know how to get in touch with you. And you said you have a program coming up. Like, talk to
Yeah.
us a little bit about that. So,
Yeah. So a quick plug, and that's the
yeah.
best. That's the best thing I can invite everybody to right now. I lead online series where experts come together discussing particular topics. It's usually purpose and prosperity. But right now, we're talking about how to lead and thrive as an awakened leader in uncertain times. So we have over 40 experts coming in to talk about money, mindset, spirituality, the times we are in, business, marketing, online, social media, all of that. And all of them are awakened, so they're speaking from a perspective of opportunity and possibility. It's a very positive space, a very empowering space, and all you have to do to be a part of it, and it's completely free, sacredsuccesssalon.com. sacredsuccesssalon.com. You have to
Okay.
opt in, which means you put a name and email address, and then we're going live May 14th. So May 14th, we release the first 2 interviews, and it goes on for 21 days, 2 interviews per day. It's about 30 minutes for each, and every single guest shares wisdom and then a free gift. It's just a beautiful place to be for anybody who is looking to connect to something that is not fear, luck, based, but it's more about awakening, opportunity, and shifting our paradigms and creating new systems in our society, in our humanity. SacredSuccessSalon.com. How to
And
thrive. Yeah, go ahead.
can I ask you to please comment that in the
Yeah,
comments on the video so that
yeah,
people, if they misspell it or anything, they can get straight to it. And we'll
yeah.
share that everywhere. And
I'll be happy to. Thank you.
yes. And then
Yeah.
how do they, if they want to get in touch with you on social media or,
It's
any other way?
yep. It's at Anna the Manifesting Artist. At Anna the Manifesting Artist. Once you opt in, you are in my world. You'll be invited to a Facebook group. You are in my world once you opt in Sacred Success Salon. I'm the host of it, and you are just by opting in, you are coming into my world. But otherwise, if you want to find me, it's at Anna the Manifesting Artist.
Okay. And that's on Instagram, right?
Instagram and Facebook. Yeah.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. This was so much fun. And if anyone needs some more information or wants to contact me, feel free. You have my social media. You can also contact me at galit@financialsharktras.com. Happy Money Monday. Thank you so much, Anna, for coming in and talking to me. This was so amazing. You unlocked so many things. You're so eloquent, and you really went into like you broke things down into something that's manageable, and it was able to understand. And that's one of the things I look for in an expert is really somebody who can break it down to simple and have me understand and have me connect with it. Um, Plus, you unlocked something I didn't even remember, didn't even know was there. So, thank you so much for that. Have an
My pleasure. Thank you,
amazing
Galit.
day.
Thank
Okay.
you too. Bye.
Happy Money Monday. Bye.
Happy Money Monday.